Greetings fellow Decepticons, SoundBlaster1987 here with another History of Vlog. Today, for my November 2025 monthly Vlog, I'll be looking back at the history, or should I say history, of the Serpentine, the species of humanoid snake monsters from a LEGO Ninjago cartoon, and the associated tie-in physical LEGO set products. So, for those who don't know, the Serpentine are a, somewhat splintered species of humanoid snake creatures from the LEGO Ninjago franchise and animated series and such. There were originally 5 tribes, but as the series progressed, they ended up creating even more splinter factions and sub-factions and such like within themselves. The original core 5 tribes were the Anacondrai, who are a threat, suspected to be the oldest of the Serpentine tribes. They're most notable for being mostly a very dark shade of like Cadbury's Dairy Milk purple. Then there's the Fangpyre, who are known for mostly being red and white. The Hypnobrai, who are mostly blue and gold. The Venomari, who are mostly different shades of green. And the Constrictai, who are mostly orange and black. Although, of course, there are individuals within each of these tribes that differentiate from a typical colour pattern. Most of the time, the generals, or the more higher-ranking members of these Serpentine tribes, will be the only ones to have a snake tail instead of humanoid minifigure legs. The exception to this is the Anacondrai, who almost all have tails, despite not all being of the general rank. The last survivor of the Anacondrai, or so it was originally thought, was Pythor P. Chumsworth, the first Serpentine we actually meet in the chronology of the cartoon, because his tomb was dug up first by the, at the time, villainous child Lloyd Garmadon, the son of Lord Garmadon and nephew of Sensei Wu. This was before Lloyd's redemption arc and becoming the Green Ninja and such. So, yes, Pythor P. Chumsworth basically manipulated Lloyd into digging up the other 4 Serpentine tombs, and then the 5 tribes all came back together. Pythor was the last survivor of the Anacondrai, or so it was thought for a while, because, well, to survive, the Anacondrai resorted to cannibalism, and Pythor was the last man standing, so to speak. And at one point, Slithra, the original Hypnobrai general from the series, ended up being overthrown in the Slither Pit by his former second-in-command, Scales, who took over as the new general of the Hypnobrai tribe from that point on. So, each of the generals of the 5 main tribes of the Serpentine have a gold cobra staff that looks like the kind of thing that Serpentor or Cobra Commander from G.I. Joe would use if LEGO had the license for G.I. Joe at the time. But of course, because LEGO is allergic to guns, they're never going to use that license, and Mega Bloks currently owns it. But anyway, back to the Serpentine. The faction symbols of the Serpentine are seen on the staffs of the generals, and the little symbol of the tribe is also a vial of antivenom for the bites of those particular Serpentine's venomous attacks. So, the Venomari symbol is a skull with a green drop of venom oozing out of it. The Fangpyre symbol is a pair of fangs with a red drop of blood underneath it. The Hypnobrai symbol is a gold swirling hypnosis spiral on a blue background. The Constrictai symbol is, I believe, a orange snake swirling around a black target of some sort. And I don't think we ever truly saw the Anacondrai symbol, because I don't think Pythor ever used the Anacondrai staff much in the show. You'll have to forgive my lack of knowledge of the later seasons of LEGO Ninjago, because I've only seen most of Rise of the Snakes, the first couple of seasons of the show, and I've got a lot of catching up to do. But from what I have seen of future seasons, Pythor P. Chumsworth ends up bleaching his scales from purple to white at one point, and then coming back later in purple again with a shorter neck. And of course there's also the crystallized era of the storyline, in which a certain crystalline energy source of some description, which again I'm not too familiar with, having not watched the show much, seems to have turned not only Pythor P. Chumsworth, but also a former Anacondrai, a former Hypnobrai called Asphyra into crystalline snake monsters. And the crystalline storyline also brought back some of the Anacondrai who had apparently survived going underground because they'd gone missing at the time of the entombment. It turns out that Asphyra was actually the former right-hand woman to Pharaoh Mambo V, one of the oldest rulers of the Hypnobrai from thousands of years ago. Mambo V is supposedly one of the oldest known rulers of the Hypnobrai tribe in a sort of ancient Egypt-style Valley of the Serpentine type of setup from prehistory of the Ninjago world. Apparently his ancestor, Pharaoh Mambo I, the original Hypnobrai ruler, made an uneasy alliance with the first Spinjitzu master, who was the father of Wu and Garmadon from many, many years ago before the storyline started, so that humans and Serpentine would not interfere with each other too much. Anyway, at some point in the storyline, Asphyra was resurrected from the dead and stole the secret of fire Spinjitzu from Kai the Red Ninja, thus creating a new offshoot of the Hypnobrai tribe called the Pyro Vipers, who were basically undead Egyptian mummy snakes with superpowers and fire Spinjitzu. I've already reviewed the LEGO physical set of their Fire Fang giant cobra monster on my channel before, link in the description below. But, yes, unfortunately Mambo V never received a physical minifigure. His design was basically a CGI mashup of the Pyro Vipers' detailed designs with a gold sort of snake chestplate epaulet piece, and basically, replacing the cobra hood of the Pyro Viper head sculpt with a normal ancient Egyptian, Tutankhamun death mask sort of headdress piece. Sort of like a halfway point between the Pyro Vipers and the, 2013 LEGO Pharaoh's Quest toy line. Now, as far as I know, the, Pyro Vipers are the most recent relaunch of the Serpentine from the LEGO Ninjago line. Before I conclude this video, I also forgot to mention that one of the main reasons that the 5 Serpentine tribes needed to come together in the first place was because only by spilling the combined anti-venom of all 5 of the general staffs onto a blank piece of parchment could they locate the map to the 4 Fang Blades, which are ancient historical artifacts that when stabbed into the ground at the same time would awaken the Great Devourer, the giant snake-like god monster that basically was their ancestor and the source of their power. It was also the venomous bite of the Great Devourer that caused Lord Garmadon to turn evil in the first place, if I remember correctly. The Great Devourer was included in the physical LEGO set of that 4-headed flying dragon that contained the power of all 4 elements, which was released around 2011 or 2012, I think, if I remember correctly. LEGO Ninjago has been around since about 2010, so it's hard to keep track of all these things. So, with that said, that more or less concludes my look back at the Serpentine from the LEGO Ninjago franchise. I've been SoundBlaster1987, thanks again for watching. My next vlog in December will be the history of the Grinch from the Dr. Seuss franchise. Until then, my next toy review will be the 1992 Matchbox figure of Virgil Tracy from Thunderbirds. Till then, till all are one.